Greetings, Lewis, and welcome to another video. So, today we're talking Rage of the Abyss. We have a new theme that just got revealed, and this theme revolves around the Sinful Spoils cards. It comes to no surprise that we're still getting more Sinful Spoil support. I think similar to how Albas and Visa Starfrost gotten support for over a year, like with their corresponding themes, we're going to have the same boat with Diabellstar. It's only been around 1 year since we have the introduction of Simple Spoils, so there's no surprise that another theme is just going to come out that is just going to be supporting it. But yeah, before we talk about the new theme and the new cards that revolve around it, I kind of want to talk about the old Sinful Spoils cards. I don't want to talk about lore-wise these cards. I just want to talk about like their competitive aspects and how well have they been received like since its inception. As you guys already know, we started with just Subversion, and then in Age of Overlord, we got like 3 more. We got Wanted, we got Betrayal, we got, I think it was Arciela, and then we got the Sinful Spoil Snake Eye, which introduced the Snake Eye theme. And you already heard Snake Eyes, so I don't need to say more. I think this engine has been very, very successful ever since like their debut in Age of Overlord, and like the other Sinful Spoils cards have not been as impactful. One card that has been impactful, that it is related to a theme, has been Diabellstar, the original Sin Keeper. This card has been seen play in the Chimera strategy. And then after these cards like got released, the other Sinful Spoils like theme that pairs well after this one is Whitewoods. Whispers of the Sinful Spoils, we don't have it on the TCE yet. We're going to get them very, very soon in Infinite Forbidden by the time of this recording. However, the Whitewood theme is very, very respectful, even without the Sinful Spoils cards. So now that we talked about the Sinful Spoils cards for a little bit, let's talk about the new ones that we received. We got Sinful Spoils Offenders. This card reads: if your opponent special summons a monster from your deck or extra deck, and you control a Diabellstar monster card, you can send one monster they control, target one monster they control, shuffle it into the deck. During the damage step, if your Diabellstar monster battles an opponent's monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard. The attack of your opponent becomes halved until the end of this turn. Not a really, really strong card. This is essentially like network trap hole, pretty much. As long as you control a Diabellstar. I don't like the fact that you need to control a Diabellstar for you to activate it, but it is a Sinful Spoils card, so it does thematically make sense because you might be setting it with Diabellstar, most likely. The graveyard effect of this card is also okay, but again, it is tied to Diabellstar, and right now, by the time of this recording, we only have 2 Diabellstar monsters, being the Black Wish and the Snake Eyes. So, as a value, this card does not really work well. It's pretty much a shame because the only real good Sinful Spoils trap card that we've had so far has been Betrayal. So this card is not as good as Betrayal. It does have Silvera's picture on it, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, that's it for that. Let's talk about this one. This is Sinful Spoils Deception. And this card reads: you can tribute one monster from your hand or field. Add one Azamina card from your deck to your hand. If a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard and you control an Azamina monster, you can make your opponent lose 1500 life points, and if you do, you gain 1500 life points. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, because it was sent there from the Spawn Track card zone this turn, you can set it. you can only use each effect of Sinful Spoils Deception once per turn. So this card ties into the new theme. The new theme is called the Azaminas. For the Azaminas, we don't have any main deck monsters. But what we do have are 3 spell cards. Well, 2 spell cards, 1 trap card, and 4 fusion monsters. So let's just show them all by one. And I will talk about the others in a moment. So we have 3 level 6s and 1 level 8. If this is familiar to you, the Whitewoods are level 6 and level 8s. So this is Silvera, this is Arciela, this is Diabell, and this is pretty much a new Azamina in the theme. Before we talk about the fusion monsters, we should talk about the fusion spell, or the main card of the theme, which is called Sacred Azamina. This card reads, you can reveal 1 Azamina fusion monster in your extra deck, and send 1 Sinful Spoils cards from your hand and or field to the graveyard for every 4 level of the reveal monster has, then special summon it. This is treated as a fusion summon. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Azamina monster you control in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. And if you do, this card, just add this card to your hand. Take note that the fusion summon for this card is not once per turn. The recurrent from the graveyard is once per turn. We'll go back to Azamina in a moment, but we'll talk about the fusion monsters first. Let's talk about Silvera. Any battle damage involving your Azamina monsters other than Silvera are doubled. This is tied into the other Silvera's effect, the Whitewood one, which is it's not trample, but it is double damage. You can only use the other effects once per turn. If when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can tribute this card, negate that effect. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add 1 Sinful Spoils trap from your deck to your hand. Let's talk about the fusion materials. The fusion materials are 1 illusion monster and 1 light spellcaster monster. This is relatively easy to make in certain decks. Illusions, as of late, has been getting very substantial support. However, we don't have too many standalone illusion monsters. The better illusion monsters right now are Diabellstar and the Chimera monsters. Millennium Moon and Millennium Fiend are 2 interesting ones. They are coming in Infinite Forbidden, but they are not really that powerful. They're just very niche extenders into what most likely going to be a splashable engine. But I felt like they needed an honorable mention because these are just other illusion monsters that are not specifically Chimera or Master Tau or Apprentice. We do have 2 other ones like Top Hat and Diabell. So these 2 cards also work together for the theme. But yeah, the fusion materials for this card doesn't matter that much because the Sacred Azamina can send Sinful Spoil cards to the graveyard to fuse for them. So this essentially acts like a pseudo instant fusion that can recur itself. And this card can all 3 of these cards have the same effect. They can all send Sinful Spoils to fusion summon. This card is hard once per turn, and you can banish it to reset a Sinful Spoils. And you can banish this card from your graveyard to reborn an illusion. Or an Azamina monster specifically. You can only use 1 effect per turn. However, you can use the graveyard effect once per turn, but you can fuse as many times with Sacred Azamina. Silvera, again, is an Omni Negate. That's really, really strong. It's kind of unfortunate that it does not have the battle protection like the regular illusion monsters have, but I think that would have been a little bit too strong considering it does have like the omni-negate effect. This card will be forcing people into battle phases a lot, most likely. And this does have an effect if it's destroyed by battle, so at least you're getting a bit more value out of this card whenever you end up summoning it. Let's talk about Arceolago. So upon fusion summon, you can add one Azamina card or Sinful Spoils card. This kind of works like the Whitewood Arceola, so it makes sense that this is a searcher. If this is destroyed by battle card effect, you can add one Sinful Spoil spells. Basically, it's contrasting the Silvera. Instead of adding a trap card, you can add a spell card. Take note that the destruction for these cards for adding does not have to be your opponent's card effects. So you can use your own card effects to pop these cards and just get extra value out of them. So that's something to keep in mind in case you're like playing something alongside these cards. Like for example, like I won't say Unchained because Unchained needs specifically like Fiend monsters, at least for some of them. But like other examples could be like Metal Foes, just to give you like one small example. So yeah, Trap Searcher, Spell Searcher, Searcher on Summon, Omni-Negate well on the board. Let's talk about Erishiton. Erishiton is not tied to the Whitewood theme, at least to my knowledge. As anybody can correct me on that. But upon fusion summon, you can just send a card from the field to the graveyard. It does target, but it does not destroy. During each standby phase, you can target one Azamina or Sinful Spoils and add it to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this one does not have a graveyard effect like the other two. And its recurability effect, it is per standby phase. So this card is very, very slow on how it works. However, this having the effect to just send a card from field to graveyard means that you can use the Ophiel or the Harmatia as interruptions in your opponent's turn, and just use these to just like interrupt your opponent summoning the Erishiton. This does ask for a Fiend monster alongside an Illusion monster, so another card that can summon this very easily is Chimera Fusion, if you decide playing the Chimera theme. So this is another interruption that you should keep in mind, like in the foreseeable future. It does ask for a Fiend type monster, so you can also pair like Fiendsmith alongside these cards as well. These two ask for a light spellcaster, so you can use Blazing Cartesia as a fusion material for these cards in the off chance that you are not using the Azamina spells. Let's talk about Moa Regina. So since Moa Regina is level 8, you do need 2 Sinful Spoils for Sacred Azamina's effect if you're going to summon this. Otherwise, its fusion materials are 1 Illusion monster and 1 level 6 or higher Fiend monster, which again, super easy to do in the Chimera theme, especially with the Baphomet. So you can target 1 Illusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So you're probably reborning your other Azaminas with this card, but again, in the Chimera Illusion deck, this can also bring back your like older illusions, like your Portal or your Mirror Sword Knight or like your Chimera Beast if you end up summoning that. So very good effect. When a Sinful Spoils or Azamina card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can target up to 2 cards on the field, destroy them. So this card goes on theme with these cards because it can pop both your Arceolago and your Silvera, and you get your extra effects of just gathering more Sinful Spoils. However, this also serves as an interruption because you can just use like your Offenders on your opponent's turn, or flip something like, for example, Wanted or Silvera, or stuff like Doom Arciela if you control a spellcaster, or use Whispers to just reborn something. Like, any of these cards will trigger the Mo Regina, which makes it a double pop, and that is ridiculously strong in this sort of deck, because as you can see from the theme, if you have an M board of like Regina alongside like Rhea Silvera, you essentially have an Omni Negate and 2 pops, and that is very, very strong out of theme that just uses a searchable instant fusion like card. So now that we talked about the Azaminas, what are the availabilities in the format? I say is Sinful Spoils, well, more importantly, is Snake Eyes are still in the format. These are really good cards to consider in the future, because the Diabellstar can set Deception, and Deception can search you for Azamina, and you can use the Azamina to send the Deception to summon the Silvera. So this is essentially like a 1.5 card engine that just gets you a free Omni Negate on summon, and the card can recur itself back. So I'd say this is already really strong as an engine. In the off chance that like Snake Eyes do get hit, or more importantly Wanted, because this card is limited in the OCG, you can just play the Chimera theme alongside these cards and you have no issue at all. Another theme that is really, really strong into these cards are Branded, which come to no surprise if you already saw the extra deck earlier. Because if you read like Albion and Lubellion, they really don't have a summon restriction on whatever they want to summon. And none of these Azalea cards or Azamina cards, none of these Azamina cards lock you into anything. So this is a very, very strong theme. I think this is an engine to look out for. Not the most powerful like theme that we've had so far, but it is a very promising one to look out for in the future. Rage of the Abyss is looking like a very like solid set. Not as strong as Infinite Forbidden, but it is looking very, very solid. And this theme is most likely going to be like one of the chase themes of that set moving forward. But yeah, I hope you found this information like valuable. I hope you found this very informative to your liking understanding. More videos coming soon. Keep practicing and keep doing.